Hello and welcome to the Business English Podcast. I'm Rob, and today we're diving into a topic that every professional encounters sooner or later: dealing with conflict at work. We'll be focusing on how to disarm conflict with confidence without ever losing your cool. So, buckle up, because by the end of this episode, you'll walk away with powerful, professional phrases that can turn tension into productive conversation. Let me share a quick story. Picture Charlie. He's a talented marketing specialist from Italy who recently landed a job in London. One day, Charlie found himself in a high-stakes meeting with his new team. The discussion got heated when two co-workers disagreed over a project deadline. Charlie saw the conflict escalating, but despite his strong English skills, he froze. He worried that stepping in might offend someone, or worse, make him sound aggressive. He wanted to help cool things down, but he just couldn't find the right words to do it professionally. Sound familiar? Maybe you've been there yourself. The tension in the room is palpable, your heart is racing, and all eyes turn to you for a response. In that crucial moment, the exact phrase you need just doesn't come to mind. If you've ever felt stuck under pressure, stay tuned. In this episode, we're going to explore why having a toolbox of conflict disarming phrases is the secret ingredient for thriving in any professional setting, especially if English isn't your first language. We'll reveal how you can stay calm, keep relationships intact, and still make your point effectively. You might be surprised how just a few well-chosen words can transform a heated debate into a constructive conversation. So let's keep Charlie's story in mind. How would you step in and diffuse that argument if you were in his shoes? And more importantly, how can you avoid those awkward silences or accidental missteps that do more harm than good? Stick around, because we're about to uncover how to use business English to remain poised and persuasive, even in the most challenging moments. Ready to unlock this skill? Let's dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Business English Podcast, helping professionals communicate more effectively, more confidently, and with impact. With your host, Rob, from Energetic English. Let's get down to business. Okay, this is the part of the episode where we dig deeper into why disarming conflict in English is such a critical skill. You might be thinking, can't I just speak from the heart and hope for the best? Well, consider this. The way you address conflict can make or break not just a single meeting, but entire working relationships and even your reputation. Conflict is everywhere in business, whether it's a difference in opinions during a team meeting or a misunderstanding with a client over deadlines. But here's the thing. When you can address those challenges calmly and professionally, you stand out. People start looking to you as someone who can guide a tense situation toward a solution, rather than stoke the flames. That's what makes conflict disarming language so powerful. It allows you to maintain your composure, preserve valuable relationships, and still make your point heard. Instead of conversations ending in awkward silences, they evolve into opportunities to collaborate, innovate, and grow. It's like having a backstage pass to high-level professional communication, one that others will notice and appreciate. Imagine you're in a tense project meeting. Two colleagues are battling it out over timelines, and there's a real risk the whole discussion will derail. You step in with the right phrase, one that acknowledges each side and redirects focus to finding a solution. Suddenly, everyone leans in. Calm settles over the room, and you've turned what was almost an explosion into a constructive conversation. Now that's a leadership move. And it's not just about group meetings. Let's say your client is upset about a delivery delay. You could risk damaging the relationship, or you could use conflict disarming phrases to show empathy, align with their concerns, and offer a clear path forward. Just a handful of words can transform a disgruntled client into a loyal partner. But how exactly do you form these magic sentences? And what if you're worried about sounding too direct, or worse, too apologetic? In just a moment, we're going to uncover the practical steps for crafting this language, so you can step into any tough conversation with clarity and confidence. Stay tuned because the best part, the actual phrases you can start using right now, is coming up next. Right, this is the part of the show where we roll up our sleeves and dive into the actual language you can use to cool down heated moments at work. You'll hear each phrase, then I'll give you a quick pause to repeat it out loud, just like we're practicing together. Finally, I'll share a brief scenario to show you exactly where you can put these words to work. Ready? Let's go. And if you want more pro phrases, free learning resources, and even a transcript, sign up to our weekly newsletter, the 3-Minute Minutes. The link is in the description. Right, phrase 1. I understand your perspective. Repeat after me. I understand your perspective. Try using this phrase when a colleague is frustrated about a project deadline. Instead of jumping straight into problem solving, you start by showing empathy. I understand your perspective. Let's figure out a timeline that works for everyone. This instantly lowers the temperature and lets them know you're listening. Phrase 2. I hear what you're saying and I'd like to find a solution together. Repeat after me. I hear what you're saying and I'd like to find a solution together. Picture you're in a client meeting and the client is upset about a missing feature in your latest product update. Instead of sounding defensive, you could say, I hear what you're saying and I'd like to find a solution together. This reassures the client that you're on their side and willing to collaborate. Phrase 3. Let's explore how we can resolve this issue. Repeat after me. Let's explore how we can resolve this issue. Imagine you're in a budget discussion where everyone is disagreeing about allocations. Before things spin out of control, you jump in. Let's explore how we can resolve this issue. You're suggesting a forward-looking approach. No blame, just a constructive mindset. Phrase 4. Could we take a step back and see where we agree? Repeat after me. Could we take a step back and see where we agree? Use this one when a debate becomes too focused on differences. By asking to step back, you guide the conversation to common ground. Maybe both sides actually want the same goal, but they're stuck on the details. A quick reminder of shared aims can work wonders. Phrase 5. I appreciate your input. Let's figure out the next steps. Repeat after me. I appreciate your input. Let's figure out the next steps. This phrase is especially helpful when you need to wrap up a difficult conversation. It acknowledges the other person's viewpoint, I appreciate your input, and then smoothly transitions to action. Let's figure out the next steps. So, which one of these resonates with you the most? Perhaps you can already imagine a meeting or phone call where one of these phrases would have changed the tone completely. Don't worry, we're not done yet. In a moment, we'll talk about how to avoid some common pitfalls when using these phrases, because there's a fine line between sounding calm and sounding passive or even confrontational. Stay tuned because we're about to uncover those potential traps and show you how to get the best possible impact from everything you've learned today. We're going to talk about some of the most common mistakes people make when trying to disarm conflict, plus a few pro tips to keep your conversations balanced and effective, because even the best phrases can backfire if you use them in the wrong way. So let's jump in. First up, using overly apologetic language. Maybe you've heard or said something like, I'm so sorry about this. While it's polite to apologize for genuine mistakes, constantly using apologies to fill space can make you seem unconfident. Instead, acknowledge the issue once, then steer the discussion toward problem solving. Small tweak, huge impact. Next, sounding too aggressive. It's easy to do if you're feeling stressed or if you're used to a more direct style of communication. Statements like, you're wrong, or that's not correct, put the other person on the defensive. Instead, shift to something more neutral. Let's take a different angle here. That way, you open the door to collaboration instead of shutting it down. Another trap is being vague or avoiding the issue altogether. You might worry about ruffling feathers, so you skirt around the actual problem with fluff. But guess what? That usually just leads to more confusion, or the issue comes back with more force later. The better approach is to be respectfully direct. Let's identify what's causing this friction and find a solution that works for both of us. So, how do you make sure these tactics really stick? One key practice is repetition and role play. Run through these phrases during low pressure moments, maybe with a friend or colleague, so that when high stakes conversations pop up, you're ready. Active listening also can't be overlooked. Tune into the other person's words, tone, and even body language if you're face to face. Finally, maintaining a calm tone helps control the pace of the conversation. People naturally lower their emotional volume when the other person speaks clearly and calmly. Think about that for a moment. Could tweaking just one habit transform the way others see you in conflict? What if you stopped apologizing too much or started acknowledging concerns more directly? In just a moment, we're going to wrap up by pulling all of these strategies together and showing you how to integrate them seamlessly into your work life. Don't go anywhere because you won't want to miss this final piece of the puzzle. So now I want to quickly recap everything we covered so you can start using these techniques right away. We began with Charlie's story, the non-native English speaker who froze during a heated meeting. Because, let's face it, we've all been there in one way or another. Then we looked at why conflict disarming skills are so vital in any professional setting. They help you keep relationships intact and guide conversations towards constructive outcomes. After that, we dove into the exact phrases you can use to calm tense situations. Phrases like, "I understand your perspective," and "let's explore how we can resolve this issue." We also explored the common pitfalls, like being too apologetic or too aggressive, and how to avoid them. Here's your call to action. Start small. Practice just one or two of these phrases this week. Maybe there's a meeting coming up where you could say, "Could we take a step back and see where we agree?" Or if you sense a client's frustration, try, "I hear what you're saying and I'd like to find a solution together." By using these phrases intentionally, you'll notice a change in how people respond to you and how you feel about navigating those uncomfortable situations. Let's keep the conversation going. Have a story of your own or a tricky scenario you'd like advice on? Drop a comment or send us a message. We'd love to hear about your experiences and maybe feature them in a future episode. That's all for now. Remember, conflict is inevitable, but handling it with confidence and professionalism is a skill anyone can learn. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to tune in for our next episode of the Business English Podcast, where we'll tackle another essential communication tip to help you succeed in your global business environment. So, keep practicing, stay sharp, and of course, keep it strictly business. You have been listening to the Business English Podcast. Remember to subscribe, leave a review, and we'll see you next time.